out as they were supposed to. And first order of business is to approve the minutes.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. The next part is comments from the citizens. So if any of you would like to talk to us, please let us know. Say who you are and who you represent. Anybody want to talk? It said what happens. Good morning. So, then we will move on with the rest of the agenda. Old business is an update on the Beaufort County corridor studies. Kevin Sullivan is here to talk to us about it. He is Beaufort County Transportation Planner.
Yes, we'd like to thank everybody for being here today. We have a lovely presentation for everyone. We heard that this was in high demand, so we wanted to bring this to everyone's attention about what we are doing with respect to our corridor and access management studies in Beaufort County. We thought it would be a good idea to not only talk about the ones that were underway, but also give updates on the ones that were completed. So everyone has in front of them the actual list of slides, the outline for the slides for this particular presentation. First slide is just title page. We're letting everybody know that we have completed the studies, we have completed access management studies, and we have some that's underway for both of those categories of the studies. We can go right into the first one.
Just 1 second. I know, they're important, but there's sort of blocking the.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we sort of did that last time. It took a minute. Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Because we can't.
The top or bottom.
Yes.
No.
Small line on the left. Yeah, there you go. And then we moved it down to the lower left.
Off with their head.
There we go. Thank you. Yeah.
We know you're still there. It's okay.
Thanks, yeah.
And please feel free to stop me anytime. I'm definitely gonna take my time. I'm not going to rush through it because these are very, very important things that we need to make sure we walk through and run. So I have it highlighted, completing corridor studies. I'm basically saying that the objective for us today, looking at these corridor studies, was to show we've identified existing conditions and also show that we've had actionable corridor-wide solutions that we are contemplating at this point. And the lens that we were looking through when we did these particular studies was how to best address capacity, safety, and mobility along the corridor. The first study we're going to look at is the Joe Frazier study. So if you're not familiar with Joe Frazier, it is a roadway that sits in between Laurel Bay. Sits in between Laurel Bay and Broadway. That's fine. Right there.
Okay.
Yeah, there are a few things that are of concern for us for this particular corridor, but we just pulled out the fact that there is a significant amount of planned and improved developments happening around this corridor. So that's a part of the reason why we studied it. These developments range from infrastructure enhancements to commercial and residential expansions, and they hold the potential to shape the future travel patterns within this corridor.
Question about the Burlington PUD that Rob may know. Is that expired yet?
No, there's an option for county council to reevaluate it, but until they do that, it's still PUD.
So it's like one of those ones that's not gonna expire unless we
Yeah, unless action is taken.
Unless actions. How big that's a pretty large chunk of land.
Yeah, it's, I don't know the exact numbers, but in the neighborhood of about 1,000 acres and 1,000 units. So it's,
That seems grand too.
Yeah.
As-
I hadn't thought about that in a long time.
And as you can see, the county and the city, you know, are looking at, particular projects, in and around this corridor. So also, we don't want to forget about, the walkability and the bikeability of this corridor. It currently does not have, pedestrian sidewalk, facilities throughout. But there are plans to also incorporate those type of facilities along the corridor, to increase the walkability and bikeability of the corridor. So that these are existing conditions, that we had to look at, before we decided on how we were to improve the mobility, and the safety of this particular corridor. And the next slide, we talk about actionable solutions to this corridor.
Kevin,
Yes,
can you hear me?
yes, I can hear you.
All right, while we're talking about safety and access and making improvements to this corridor, currently we have complaints of the situation where the traffic that comes off of 116, Highway 116 Laurel Bay, onto Joe Frazier, and you come to the roundabout. And
Yes.
after they leave the roundabout, the traffic speed is problematic to the residents from that roundabout to the curve coming down toward what's that? The church on the left, Mount Carmel.
Yes,
The traffic is excessive, and the residents that are living there, particularly on that stretch where you come from the roundabout to that next curve by Laurel Bay Baptist Church there, the residents are complaining that it's hard for them to get out because the traffic is speeding at such high rate. Can we look at that and consider slowing the traffic down in that area?
yes, we can. And, that actually was a part of our study. We actually looked at speed, and we looked at, crashes along this corridor. But to answer your question, yes, we will definitely make sure that we zone in on speeding. We have those type of capabilities in the county, in the Office of Engineering as well. So we can do studies, we can go out and do field tests, et cetera, to confirm and validate what the citizens are saying.
All right, thank you.
So, this is a few of the actionable, solutions, that we, that you will see in the actual study. So Cherokee Farms is a development that has been approved and will be coming online soon. So the first, image that you see, you see two green boxes, and those are, intersections that we feel that if we improve, it would improve the mobility and safety along the corridor. So instead of all of the traffic using, that current access, to Habersham, we are looking at creating a roundabout that will give direct access to Cherokee Farm. This was something that was a part of their PUD, and we are going to implement that, as a part of this corridor, plan. So this is just one, of many things that we plan to do in the corridor, but of course, we couldn't today talk about every single thing that we plan to do in the corridor. We just thought we would pull out a few things just for us all to kind of chew on, for lack of better words. So, safer intersection design reduces the probability of severe crashes. That's one of the benefits of a roundabout. So that speaks to the county councilman, and what he, was just saying about the speeds that were taking place along the highway. So safer intersection design reduces the probability of severe crashes and improves the mobility of the corridor. You all don't see here, where we plan to implement sidewalks, and pathways, but planned sidewalks and pathway implementation will also improve walkability throughout the corridor, provide safe access to nearby recreation centers and schools. Because we do have a recreation center right across the street from this particular development. And we have a school further down, and we have a school further to the north, closer to the Lower Bay Road. And we want to improve the walkability and the safety for those who are, use bikes today.
Do you know when Cherokee Farms will start construction?
I know they're probably about.
They're really close. I believe they're coming in. I'm trying to remember if they got their final approval or not, but they're very close to a huge phase that'll include, single family and multifamily. So this is definitely can happen soon.
So is the proposed T intersection, is that where the existing road comes in
Yes.
off of Joe Fraser? And
Yes.
it's gonna be turned to be perpendicular rather than
Yes.
the yield?
Yes, because today, of course, the site distance isn't the preferred site distance.
And that would just be that's not gonna be a lighted
No,
traffic light.
for access, intersection, but it'd be safer because.
They'll put a turn lane. Never happen. There's a traffic calming too, that's a little slow.
It slows it down, and the problem is the number of vehicles coming in. You look at Bluffton, work great, but when you start getting a lot of traffic and a lot of cars, it's. I mean, it's like being in Paris.
Well, that sounds great.
No, I mean, you're just zipping in and out, and jump in, and
Never gonna hit right.
I don't know.
Well, the severity of accidents is significantly different. Traditional intersections, they're terrible,
Oh,
they're,
they are.
Collisions are much worse.
You make a good point too, because the intersection that, the county councilman was talking about, the roundabout that the county councilman was talking about, that's closer to Lower Bay. As a part of this study, how, we did some preliminary engineering, and we actually had, the new design for that current roundabout is tweaked a little bit, because we realized that, if we shift the angles of how the roads come in, it's actually safer for the vehicles and actually better for those trying to navigate it. So that intersection is going to be improved. And of course, this one right here, when it's built, we want to make sure that the angles that we and at those four particular parts of the roundabout, that it's built to last. That's a very good question, because we did find that the existing roundabout is problematic, and it's problematic because of how it was designed. So we want to redesign it, become through the whole corridor.
Is there any funding for the roundabout at Cherokee Farms at this point?
I currently know, like, the design part of it is funded or partially funded. As far as the construction, I don't
Development agreement?
know.
Sure.
I think development agreement, was that in?
Rob, was that paid for a development agreement, Cherokee Farms, the roundabout?
I know that that is specifically addressed in the development agreement. I'm not certain of the cost share and guess that would be something we could ask engineering.
Yeah.
Okay.
It should be. So the next corridor study, that we want to bring forward is the SC 46 corridor study. And with this one is a little different, because, it actually intersects with, SC 170. SC 170 is a major, commuter corridor for the county. As you can see, the red, the actual road network is broken up into 3 colors. Red is greater than 15,000 cars. As far as the annual average daily traffic, the orange you see there is in between 5 and 15,000. And the green is, less than 1,500, a day. So, the actual volumes is a big concern of us, like how many cars are on the road is a big concern. That's the first exhibit that you've seen. And then the second exhibit is crash data. We call this type of exhibit like a heat spot particular image, and then it shows the density of crashes. So where you see it really red, that's where you have more crashes than when you see it's kind of like a light bluish color. So it's more dense at those particular intersections.
You know, when you have these crashes, you know what time of the day you're having these crashes?
We do. We do. We
In
have,
the morning?
yeah, that happen all across the day. They're
Right.
day, night, and they're all different types of crashes. They're side crashes, they're rear end crashes,
That's out in Pritchardville, right?
that is out and.
Coming about Pritchardville, that area?
Yeah.
It's dark. That's a narrow,
Yeah.
dark road.
Yeah, it's narrow and it's dark and it's actually,
Not much of a shoulder. It's just,
Mhm.
I travel it occasionally and I get nervous on it.
Yeah, the intersections, are like, a lot of the roads in the counties, like we have roads that, didn't necessarily, tie in, the way you would naturally want to see a road tie in.
Yeah.
So, that's a part of our struggle and challenges on these types of roads because,
Right.
there are so many access points.
Okay.
And to try to wrangle them all in is, really difficult to do.
Sure.
But when we do these studies, we have the time and we have the capability to come up with good solutions. As you can see, very high traffic volumes and a high number of crashes are a concern along this corridor. There is also a significant amount of new and improved development. You guys don't see that there, but there's a significant amount of new and improved development right at that particular intersection as well. And that's going to place more strain on the current network. So that's our existing condition. That's the problem that we're trying to solve with this particular corridor study. So we can go to the next slide and look at some actionable solutions. So if you've been through this area, currently the roundabout is 2 lanes in either direction with exception to this particular leg of it. So if you see on the left-hand side, we're actually proposing a capacity modification on this particular leg. So instead of it being 1 lane, we want to increase the capacity there, and that capacity will reduce the queuing that you would see in the roundabout. So instead of having cars backing all the way up, it would alleviate a lot of queuing through the roundabout, and it would actually increase the level of service of the roundabout. So the roundabout would perform better, this particular capacity improvement. That's what you see on the left side. On the right side, you see where we have traffic signals. And the traffic signals are in place because we feel as though we know we're going to have significant pedestrians crossing the street. We know the amount of volume, with respect to vehicles is not gonna decrease, it's gonna increase. So our question is how do we, safely and smoothly have that interaction between cars and vehicles? And our analysis showed that if we provide signals, at these locations, that it will provide, the safety that we need with respect to left turning vehicles. So increasing the capacity at the roundabout will reduce queuing as well as improve level of service. But the implementation of the new signals will reduce the number of crashes by reducing the volume of risky left turn movements. So today, when people are leaving out of these side streets, they have to guess gaps. And, you know, they have to decide, okay, all right, do I think I have enough time to make this left turn? You know, sometimes, yeah, and you may have somebody in the vehicle that is courteous. And then you may not have people in the vehicle that is not courteous, so that's like a risk that you take. But we feel as though by implementing these new signals at these strategic locations, that we will reduce the number of crashes, by reducing the volume of risky left turn movements, as well as help provide more safe crossing for pedestrians. So, and instead of pedestrians also trying to guess where best to cross the street, if we have lights there, we have crosswalks. If we have crosswalks there, we would have a signal phase for pedestrians so that they can come across safely.
Is the first traffic light, how close is that to the roundabout?
It is,
Because we have issues in several of the roundabouts where the traffic backs into the roundabouts with the red light.
yeah, that was considered. How close that light was considered. And it was still recommended to be there. So our traffic engineers believe that we could have that traffic light there and work well
I
with.
love when you say that.
Yeah.
The traffic engineers believe.
Yeah.
We want them to know.
So, I mean, and traffic lights, you know, they are a maintenance issue for us, you know, we do have to keep it maintained. But they do provide a benefit,
For sure.
yeah, you know.
And Gibbet especially, I think Gibbet's always been a problem.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's when you gotta hope to pray for that gap, where you take that cut to the Beaufort Road, you're sitting there, it's
There's no
like,
question, that's the first thing.
yes.
Area right there.
yeah. And that's the trade-off that I think that we are willing to take. I mean, we'd rather have more safety for the pedestrians at this point. You know, even if it doesn't give a whole lot of time, you know, to other parts of how we move through the corridor. Of course, you know, we're gonna have it time as well as we can possibly have in time, but if we can give more seconds to pedestrians crossing the road to reduce fatalities and crashes.
And the majority of the traffic is going that way anyway.
Yeah,
It's not going right in this way, so you've got higher traffic. Is the section with the new turn lane
Mhm.
coming in, is that a new turn lane into New Riverside or is it there now?
Well, the actual channelized right, that's there now, but the actual inside, the inside second through lane.
That's the new one.
Yeah, yeah.
But they do already have that dedicated into New Riverside, right?
Yeah. And so that's, these are a few of the things, this is like a highlight of the things that we plan to do in this quarter, because we know that this particular community wants to know about the action that we're taking or plan to take, so that's why we want to bring it.
I guess that question is, so are these adjustments already funded as well?
They are not funded, but they are at the priority level. They will be prioritized to be funded because of the study. So that's really what our studies do. It lets us know in the short term we need to do this. And I definitely don't want to speak out of turn, but I know that the roundabout one is the top priority. You know, Cause I've been in a few meetings and I've heard that roundabout is very priority.
It's gonna require referendum type funding, or is you talking about facilities,
Yeah, I believe the roundabout will be over 300,000, so,
300,000?
right, so we may need.
That's not that much. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Right.
Yeah. And then you have to do the traffic light.
We may or may not need a referendum for that. So the next, study that we're working on is the US 21 study. And this is, a very important study because this is the gateway into the county. We had to be, just as concerned about, safety as we had to be about mobility, like getting people in and out. So as you can see on the left-hand side, the numbers, you see, the blue color on US 21, and that's showing us about 15,000 cars, average annual DT, daily traffic. In the green, 22,000, and when you get to the red, that's in between the intersection at the Marine Corps Air Station and Paris Island Gateway. You see about 30,000 vehicles on an average day through that segment of the corridor. So volume is a concern of us and of ours, and also collisions is also a concern of ours in this particular corridor. As you can see, we also have another heat map here that shows you where the density of the collisions are happening along this corridor.
Sure, the two intersections.
Yeah.
This isn't completely 21 then.
No, it stops at the limits was from, the limit was from US 17 to Neil Road.
Yeah, because the Paris Island Gateway was redesignated 21 for truck traffic because of Woods Bridge, so it's not really completely 21.
No.
Right.
So, the numbers are all there. Over half of the collisions were listed as non-junction, meaning that they did not occur at intersections, which means that we're having, accidents not at places where people can safely cross. So people are crossing at places where they're not crosswalks, and because they're crossing at places that are not crosswalks, then because the traffic is not expecting them to be there, then we're having accidents there.
Well, one of your worst places on 21 is right there where the Toyota place is. You try to make a left-hand turn out of there, you take your life in your hands, curve.
I did it 3 days ago, it was fun.
Right,
And you made it, right?
come back.
Yeah.
It's
Barely.
interesting that the largest number of fatal collisions were seen on Saturdays and Mondays.
That's what, that's the DOT records.
Interesting.
There's alcohol.
Saturdays, I got that one, Mondays. Late for work, probably.
Yeah, I think that,
Probably what it is.
yeah.
The things that we don't, nobody likes, nobody loves, of course, is the fatalities, we have no patience for that. Lives are very, very important, lives are very precious to us. So actually want 0 fatalities on our roadways. Our corridor studies are, honing in on the fact that we want to slow things down as well.
Make it safer.
Yeah, so, that in certain parts of the corridor, it makes no sense to change the speed limit because, it's actually, best just for moving traffic through. But when you get to areas where you have more, interaction with vehicles, you have more development, then congestion, it actually makes sense to think about slowing the traffic down. And that's also been a consideration. And as a matter of fact, recently, we actually changed the speed limit. I think right after the Marine Corps Air Station, we there in Bruce Case Malls, I think we dropped it to 45, and we went back up for that particular reason.
There's a new 55 section, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. So we are, um, um, in tune with what we need to do with respect to speed. The next slide talks about, actionable, solutions. And basically, what we want to do is because US 21 is the gateway into the corridor, our analysis showed us that increasing mobility would be very important along the corridor. And it would be important because it's a gateway into the county. But in order to increase mobility, we have to design safer intersections along the corridor. So implementing geometric improvements at certain locations without widening provides a network level relief. And when we say network level relief, the first intersection is US 21 at Paris Island Gateway. We all know about that intersection. But what we are contemplating with this particular concept, you see that if you want to go towards the air station and you're on Paris Island Gateway, and you're at the light, we have a double left. We're contemplating a double left there, and then one right if you want to go the opposite direction. But as you can see on 21, there's no left turns on the Paris Island Gateway. We're contemplating whether or not it would be best to just keep traffic moving along there and then have left turns maybe at Burton Hill or create another place where we can have left turns a little further down the road, like create a whole nother alternative where we can make those left turns.
They need to fix signals too, because the bike path is there,
Yes,
and that the arrow, the people coming towards town who turn right. They stop, the lights stop it for a really short amount of time, and it doesn't actually change all the lights. So people just make that right turn, and you can't see them coming.
right.
So they need a real signal
Pedestrian.
for the, so people can get across, yeah.
Okay.
Somebody's gonna get killed there, I mean, that's one of the worst ones.
So, thank you for that comment. So our highways and our roadways, they're all connected. Like, if we were to zoom out, we would see roads coming in at 90-degree angles, roads crossing, roads intersecting. And as a composite, they're called our network. And for this particular intersection, there's a high demand. So it's sort of like you have a charger and it has 4 sockets in it. And if you have 4 sockets actually in that particular charger, then it's at full demand. Like you can't really add another one to that. But if you modify that socket to be a 6, socket, then that increases the actual network ability. So in that example, all I'm trying to explain is that if we take the left-hand turns from off of US 21, that will reduce the demand for that particular intersection. But we will have to make up that demand somewhere else in the network. So that's what that concept is about. And the second one on the right is Seabrook Road. That one is right at the intersection of where Wellbridge School is, the school campus, right?
And
So-
signalizing that.
Yes, it's signalizing that particular school.
Close to the bridge.
Over the bridge as well. Yeah, so, we are contemplating this particular intersection design as well for the same exact reason. We have a large amount of buses, vehicles traversing the road, and we think that this intersection design will make it safer.
Kevin,
Yes, Jeremy.
Kevin, can you hear me?
Yes,
Let me go back to the 21 and Paris Island Gateway intersection.
yes,
So if the traffic is coming out of the city of Beaufort heading north to the air station, when they get to Paris Island Gateway, they don't make a left turn there. They have to go down and make a U-turn and come back to make that right turn onto Paris Island Gateway. Is that what's
No.
being proposed?
Well, we're actually, and we can get into this into more depth maybe a little later on, but our thoughts with this particular concept, of course, we looked at a couple of different concepts. This was just one. But our thoughts with this concept is maybe having them make the left at Burton Hill, and actually putting a signal at Burton Hill and have them make the left there if they want to make the left.
Have to signalize that, wouldn't you?
Yes,
Yeah,
we would.
There's two lights you gotta go through to
Yeah.
get on Paris Island.
So instead of making the left here, Councilman, we would take that demand from this intersection, because this intersection is so much in high demand, which means that it's strained. It's especially based off the 2040 traffic numbers that we're looking at. We thought that if we break up that demand and share that demand with the Burton Hill intersection, then they could function better that way. So that's just one concept idea with that we're contemplating this.
If you do the Burton Hill, you're gonna have a long, lane for left-hand turns.
You're gonna have to improve all of Burton Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're having a conduit back to Paris Island
Yeah,
Gateway.
and also in Paris Island Gateway, is that cutting right in front of or across the refuel?
Refuel.
Yeah. This particular design it works within the SEDOT right away.
Okay.
So we wouldn't be asking for right away. And if we do it, it'd be a small slither.
And then coming off of that Paris Island Gateway, that turn going right with south, then what about people turning into refuel? Is that gonna create a?
We probably would have to go to the intersection
Okay.
rather than, I don't think they have a cut. They don't have a cut.
We have one a
It's
little
in the
bit further down,
intersection,
yeah.
Yeah, and that the whole area would have to be reworked,
Right.
like those access roads as well.
It's the trail crossing there is.
Yeah.
That's the religious point.
Yeah, and just so everybody knows, like these problems that we have, they're not easy problems to fix. They're hard. Some of them are very hard. And some of them won't be easy to swallow, but we still have to present the best possible solution that we think that we can put forward.
Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Mitch. Hello?
Yes.
We hear you.
Yeah, hi. For the picture on the right, the consideration for putting a light there, will that light be at the intersection of 21 and Stewart Point Road, or the intersection of 21 and the road that goes down to Seabrook to the post office? It appears that that intersection is a perfect T on the picture, but the traffic at those two roads, they don't line up.
Right. So off the screen there, this particular concept is
Realignment.
is assuming, a realignment. So it will require interaction with the communities and property owners in order to realign that particular road in and around properties. But not like significant takes, but takes that we feel that, that we could bring forward and have a conversation with those property owners. And we know it's not going to be easy to have those conversations, but looking at what it can provide for the community and also provide for the property owners as well. We will hopefully think that the pros that we present to them outweighs the cons. But that's what you see.
Okay, thank you.
If I might follow up on that, Kevin, I can tell you right off the bat, that's going to be very problematic, problematic.
Yeah. I mean, we understand that we know what we're facing. We definitely know what we're facing. But, you know, our studies we have to show all alternatives, even the ones that we know will be tough to swallow. So the next studies that we're going into are not corridor studies, they're access management studies. So, you know, it's simple and straight to the point. We're looking at how to best address access management issues along the corridor. The first one is US 278. US 278, the concern that we have for this particular one is crashes. There are way too many crashes on US 278. And we also are concerned about the level of services at particular intersections. So on the left, you see our crash data. And on the right, you see the delay. So you see Fs, and you see Ds, and you see Es.
Jerry's report.
Yeah. And this is currently what, you know, we've analyzed for this particular segment of highway. So too many crashes and poor access management is a major concern along this corridor. There's also significant amount of new development as well on this corridor, further up the corridor, as well as a reconfiguration of the I-95 interchange by SCDOT happening just west of this particular corridor. So there are lots of things that's going on that's going to impact this corridor. The next slide would actually show you the actual limits of this particular study. We have a current study underway that is from 95 all the way to Sea Pines and Hilton Head. But this particular study that we're looking at, which is the one that is completed, this study looked at 278 from Argent Boulevard to the interchange.
It actually took the triangle into consideration, right?
Yes.
The Argent 17.
Yes. So at that, as you can see today, you know, we have some spacing issues with respect to our intersections. We also have some issues with respect to lights as well on this particular project. So poor access management coupled with significant traffic volumes through the corridor, which is also an evacuation route, is problematic.
Is the Jasper County's work on Argent Road, are they gonna improve where it meets at 278 at all? Or-
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Their study is,
That includes the traffic light at Argent
yes.
278.
Yeah.
At 278, okay.
Yeah, it actually all coincides. So, and that's a good point too, because, you know, we, have established communications with our partners in other counties. And we have that, that rapport with them, and we understand that we have to do cross-jurisdictional memorandums and IGAs, because we are sharing this burden together, because their constituents and our constituents both have used it. That's a very good point. With respect to this particular corridor, we talk about funding and improvement for it. It's going to be shared to a certain degree.
Off screen, you don't see the huge developments that Jasper County is.
Yes, that's right.
I mean,
So,
Sorry, Eric.
yeah. So the next slide shows an actionable solution. And this actionable solution, as you can see, there's 3 lanes there instead of 2 lanes. So this solution is showing that we're going to widen the road from 2 lanes to 3 lanes. And widening provides a lot of benefits for us through this particular section of 278. Widening plus the lowering of speeds, plus adaptive signal implementation, plus implementation of geometric improvements at intersections should cut delay at the intersections and reduce the number of severity of crashes along the corridor. So
intersection is?
This is,
Yeah.
this is Sun City, so this is an intersection where you would have a widening through there, there will be 3 lanes. But it's called a bow tie intersection because you see the red striped out portions to the top left and the bottom right. Those are merging lanes that merge today. But in this particular improvement, our analysis showed that we shouldn't have the merging lane because those merging lanes affect the flow of traffic. Because now, yeah, so in this particular analysis, we feel as though if we take those out and we make those geometric improvements, then the flow of traffic will be better, but also it will cut the delay along the corridor because cars that's coming through don't necessarily have to slow down right after they pass the light to see if somebody is coming in.
Gotcha.
So that works well here. I'm not necessarily saying that that's gonna work everywhere across the corridor, but at this particular light, it works well.
So would there be no turns on that, or they would be able to merge with right turn?
That will. I know they're gonna have protected lefts, so.
Right.
The lefts are definitely gonna be protected. As far as the reds, no turns on reds. I think throughout the county, today we maybe allow it, but I don't know if that's the DOT. But that would be a call by our traffic. I wouldn't know whether or not.
But that's, that's if people trying to pull into traffic, oncoming traffic, right, on red,
Yeah,
would seem to me to be more dangerous than merging.
yeah.
But if it's totally protected with no turns, then that would make it safer, that's for sure. Not sure how it does from the standpoint of flow coming out of Sun City. Because that would slow down their ability to get on to 270.
Okay.
Does the state have this on their list? They're like road lists? Are they actually gonna fund any of these? Or are these like at the top?
I believe.
6?
Yeah, I don't know for sure, but I do know that, it's on Harveyville's list to make this particular improvement through here. How the state is going to participate, I don't know. Yeah.
If you stop tabs from going to all these meetings.
So, but to your question, we are looking at, providing, what they call a adaptive, signal implementation here too. And that's basically, a situation where we have signals synchronized. And, when the demand is high, then they're set to make sure that we can get as much traffic through as safe as we can.
Right.
With demand high, and when demand is low, the reds and the greens and the yellows are timed to make sure that we can get enough traffic through, when it's low, versus just having it set on one particular thing. And when traffic is high, things may be good. Yeah, so we are planning to utilize adaptive signal implementation compared to, and that's gonna optimize the traffic, and that's gonna cut the delays. Theoretically, yes, theoretically.
Try to be an naysayer.
Theoretically. And so the next slide shows, types of intersections that we think that we could use along this corridor. The one to the right is the bow tie, that's the one we were just talking about. And it talks about signal adjustments, and the protective left turns that we talked about, and eliminating left turn related crashes and adaptive signal control. And we also have it's called a continuous green T. And that's something that was contemplated back in 2021 when we did this study for Argent. We don't necessarily know, no, I'm sorry, not for Argent, but for the community college drive. We don't necessarily know if it's going to remain that way. But when when our traffic analysis came back, it said that this particular intersection works well at community college drive. So these are the types of designs that we're looking at for this segment of the corridor. questions? Moving right along to Bluffton Parkway. Bluffton Parkway, access management plan, has been completed. And as you can see there in the highlighted version, the county desires to update the current access management plan and further develop an access management plan for the remaining section of Bluffton Parkway to improve the efficiency and operations of the corridor. So the current plan, begins in, at 278, and it stops at Buckwalter Parkway, and this one picks up at Buckwalter Parkway, and goes all the way to Maywood. Studying the entire length of the parkway is necessary to improve the reliability of the corridor. So, reliability is a key word, and we are hoping that with this particular access management plan that we put together, that we make this corridor more reliable for those who are using it. The next slide shows us an actionable solution. So as you can see there, there's we have Bluffton Parkway at Simmonsville Road. And then there's a red circle there on that left slide. On that red circle, that is a full access intersection, but there's no light there. So when we say full, that means the side streets, they can come out, they can make a left, they can make a right. And if you want to turn into the side street, making that left in is permitted. So as you can see there, we have right in, right outs being planned for certain side streets. But the yellow dotted line is proposed backage roads. And backage roads also take the demand off our network. So it's more of a demand release. It takes the strain off the network. So
It connects the grids.
yeah, and it connects the grid. So instead of having all the cars using Bluffton Parkway, if we can pull 200, 300 cars off Bluffton Parkway, and have them use a backage road, then that relieves pressure off the network. So it's a network relief mechanism. But we're actually recommending at this particular intersection with the red circle, what we call 3/4 access. So instead of having all movements happening, we would restrict left turning movements out of there because they're the most dangerous. It's on either side of the road. I think it's the Parkers on one side and the Inmark on the other side.
So they'd be right in, right out, aren't we?
No, they'll be right in, right out, but you can also make a left in, just can't make a
Oh, I
left
got it.
out.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be called 3/4. So that's what you see there. So that's an actionable solution. And the next slide is a continuation of the same road. The next image,
Other side.
the next exhibit is a continuation of the same road. Yeah. It's a continuation of the same road, and we are recommending right in, right outs. Those particular ones, we also recommending taking a hard look at another network relief, which is the backend road behind. And we also looking at where that red circle is, changing that from full access to 3/4 access. Those are some of the things that we're doing with our access management plan to reduce the number of conflicts along this road. Again, a good access management plan should pinpoint pinch points. And that's basically what you're going to see when you see the Bluffton Parkway Access Management Plan, and you open it up and look at it, you're going to see that we pinpointed pinch points where the system is straining, and we recommended feasible solutions like alternative routes, like you see here, that provides network relief. The county will use this plan as a tool to ensure the corridor evolves in a way that supports growth, safety, and dependable travel for everyone. So we want our access management plan to support growth. And because we understand how vital it is to get people in and out, but not only people, but like trucks, packages, shipment, commerce. it's important to have that mobility to get those things in and out. So if we can better manage the access on our corridors, then we can better respond to the growth that we expect to see along our corridors. So those are all the access management plans and corridor studies that have been completed to date. Now, these are the ones that we have underway. And our objective were to identify existing conditions and next steps. And the lens that we were looking through was how to best address capacity as well. So the first one that's underway that I am extremely excited about for numerous amounts of reasons is what we're calling our ITS master plan, is our Intelligent Transportation System Master Plan. So it's sort of like the brains of the equipment that we're going to use in order to be able to talk to one another across boundaries, but also with respect to our knowing our assets. So we all are working together and collaborating together in the future to ensure that regionally speaking, that we can respond to evacuations better, we can respond to emergency management events better, we can respond to the average crash on a bridge better. We can respond to the average crash at a significant intersection, like I say 278 and 178, 278 and 170. With the ITS master plan in place, we feel as though we will be able to respond to incidents and those things in a much quicker, more efficient, more proactive fashion.
Are the cameras utilized at all right now?
Yes. The sheriff's office, SCDOT, the city, and the county, we have access to those cameras. And
Is there anything we can do in real time currently with the cameras? I just don't see it.
The county have limited control.
Yeah.
But it's more of a sheriff's office thing right now. That's what I'm being told.
Yeah.
Would y'all contemplate how that may change? Because if y'all are the traffic engineers and really in charge of the ITS system, it would seem to make more sense that y'all would have responsibility for monitoring the cameras and making the necessary changes, whether it's through intelligent traffic signal management or having people respond on scene. Right now, I will be honest with you, I don't see it. And the cameras used to be of a higher quality and now they're time delayed. I don't understand.
I mean, just have people watching the cameras, but I don't know, to Dan's point, how does it work? I don't know.
So this is what you're recommending as an improvement to that. I just think we probably need to evaluate the responsibility of monitoring the cameras and who handles the responsiveness to those things.
Kevin, you've been in other places like
Yeah.
Maryland, what other places, these kind of systems, who runs them? Is it,
Well,
I know it depends, but.
it's a joint operation, but it like in places I've been, it's been mostly ran by those who own the road.
By who owns the road?
In Maryland, a lot of the roads is owned by the state. So, they had like a chart center, an emergency management center. So, that's what I saw there.
Well, evacuation, you definitely see it.
Yeah.
The cameras,
Yeah.
but I don't know if that's manned 24/7.
And I work for the city of Baltimore too. They have their own emergency operations center. And I think I think we have our own EOC too as well. It's just very scaled. And so this ITS master plan is going to look at that too. Like it looks at positions, it looks at equipment, it looks at our regional partners. And go straight to your point, so defining and redefining the roles and establishing processes that will outlast titles. That's the big thing with this ITS. We have to define the roles and we have to redefine some roles as well. But we want to do that in a way that, you know, those roles outlast titles. So if somebody, you know, is no longer in that seat, okay, how do we still function, you know, as well? That is critical to the success of our ITS master plan. So we're right now in the existing conditions phase of it. Our next steps is to do our asset inventory, to work on our collaboration, to understand what our technology upgrades are going to be, to make sure that we are on the same page with SCDOT with respect to our evacuation routes. So you're right on. That's what this is all about. But we actually have ways to go with our master plan because this is underway. This isn't complete. So our next steps, I'm sorry that the piece of it is off the screen, but that blue exhibit you see it, that is where we've done an audit of everything that is owned and who it's owned by. So that was like our initial step to understanding how we're going to manage these assets over time and who's going to manage it and how much is going to be managed. That's the left exhibit. The right exhibit, you know, basically talk about a global assessment of the region's current infrastructure is necessary to determine the gaps that need to be filled to establish an all-encompassing, cutting-edge ITS architecture solution that our region can rely on to evolve with the constant changes in technology over time. So what we want to build is we want to build a reliable ITS architecture. So we want to build, for lack of better words, some type of structure, a house, a facility. So it has to have a foundation, it has to have a first level, a second level, or a third level. You have to have means of ingress and means of egress. It has to be able to be protected. All of those things are a part of this architecture that we're building, and we are in stage one of what we're doing. As you can see, we have 171 signals across the region owned by SCDOT is 102 of them. 4 of them are owned by the city of Beaufort. 30 of them are owned by the town of Hill Head. 22 of them is owned by the county. 13
we don't know.
13 are
I
unknown.
like that. Nobody owns those.
Yeah. So you see the honesty.
Independently operated.
You see the honesty in our study.
So excuse
Well,
me,
thank you.
it's almost 10 after 10.
Okay.
And we're not quite finished. Does everybody want to just continue on or?
I think this is a hugely important part of this entire discussion.
Yeah.
ITS is.
Okay.
So, yeah, so,
Maybe we can skip back home.
okay.
South and Broad skip.
Yeah, they're on their own over there.
We'll get there.
So, speaking about emergency preemption, we have 57 signals. I don't know if you all knew that. We have 57 signals that have emergency preemption capabilities. We only have one flasher present in the region. To me, that's a red flag. The detection systems, our primary method is inductive loops, are the most common vehicle detection system method. We also have video detection as well. And the purpose is those detection systems support signal timing and traffic management. But that also goes back to what you were saying at US 21 and bikes being able to travel across and whether or not cars are being detected. All of that goes hand in hand. And then you see what our CCTV camera ownership is like. The majority of the cameras are operated by Beaufort County Sheriff's Office. So, you know, we need to talk to them about quality. Say something about the fussiness of it, but yeah, maybe we need to get with them and work on how we can create a better visual for what they currently have out there. Hilton Head is 86 traffic monitoring cameras. And theirs are integrated into smart micro tree rate detection units covering 90% of their signal out intersection. The county and town personnel can monitor cameras for traffic conditions, incident response. Of course, that go into the detail of the who's the how and the what, but it's just letting us know that we do have the ability to monitor those things. I forgot to mention the ITS master plan. This is actually the Low Country Area Transportation Studies. This is something that they have funded, but the county is managing it for them.
Right.
So this is actually a regional study that is funded by our
I'm glad, sure.
I'm but this is very, very important. This
And actually, it was a grant, it wasn't a voucher.
mhm.
It's a grant.
Yeah. This is this to me, in my opinion, when we work on our corridors and we work in our different jurisdictions and we work on those small things, the everyday things about improving signage and improving lane miles and striping roads better and making sure our pavement is there. To me, this ITS infrastructure is like the glue to all of that. When we have this in place as well, like it's going to be a situation to where we're able to operate more efficiently. More the way we think we need to be operating. So this is like
It was a real-time response to it, which is what we don't have now.
yeah.
So when we get the backup of the turn lane at Naval Hospital and backup because the Woods Bridge closes and then the intersection at Ladies Island Drive and Report Road becomes a parking lot.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we can have the ability to have somebody with eyes on it. They can say, okay, make this like, we gotta get all the people through, we flush you through. Then once that's done, then we can work with it that way. Yes, yeah. So we actually have more control over our streets being utilized.
would that also utilize artificial intelligence?
Yes, yeah, it will. I know our controllers will. And adaptive signal data that we have guys that come in to us as far as the engineering group. We have like vendors that talk to us about, okay, I think this AI thing can improve this AI thing. Was out back of the house, looking at things back of the house. That talk to us about the benefits of AI and how it helps us as a company. That's above my pay grade, or whether or not we choose or not. So that's the ITS master plan. And it's basically a global assessment of our region's current infrastructure. And the next page goes into US 278. This corridor study, just like the 170 corridor study, is also a LAT study. Beaufort County is managing it. The major concern we have here is that sections of 278 have more traffic volume than Interstate 95 at times. So, that's why we know widening is very important.
If you widen though, you're also gonna reduce demand, and they got buckets going down there, so that's really gonna create you a mess down there. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
We'll have to go to Point South to get on. I mean, instead of.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
A question, and a little off topic, but all of this is great until we have an accident. And if, in your experience, have agencies ever looked at accident management protocols and procedures? I know two things are most important: personnel, the safety, people on the scene. And two, there are some accidents that are so severe that you're just gonna get stuck. But sometimes I'm concerned that maybe we've created too many barriers to traffic when these are not severe accidents. And we can get people out of the way, or at least limit how many lanes we block. And I know this is police and fire department and EMS discussion, but how, I mean, have you seen that where like everybody, the agency's got to go, wait, how can we do this better so we can get people moving through? If it's not a severe accident,
Well,
what can we do?
in a 2-lane road, and they call a fire truck up there and block 1 lane for safety purposes.
Yes.
Got the other lane where the accidents occurred, and you back everybody out.
No, I just wondered if that's ever been part of this.
Shoulders help with that. That's why, like.
If you have one.
Yeah, right. That's why we are working with SCDOT. We try to make sure that on a lot of our rural roads,
Right.
that like we have shoulders, because shoulders help in that situation.
Right.
So it kind of acts as another lane per se.
Yeah.
And that's what the new bridge is gonna be like on Hidden Heads. It's gonna operate a certain way, but it's gonna have like a large shoulder. Well. That's what. So we do think about that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if we have everything everywhere, every time, I think in the perfect world we could, but we don't live in the perfect world, so, we just do the best that we can when we can. But shoulders would be a low cost, in air quotes, it'd be a low cost improvement that we can probably, push really hard for on places where they're not, that could help us in those situations.
We have the geographic disadvantage of having narrow causeways and issues that create the difficulty of having shoulders, but you see the signage where it says with no injuries involved, traffic will remove accident from the roadway, of course, nobody does it.
Right. Yeah, like I was stuck on St. Helens last year when that truck overturned with a diesel in it and was stuck there for 4.5 hours while we waited for dirt to show up.
Yeah.
That's a process that probably should be reevaluated. Just part of the equation.
The next slide is just showing us the next steps. So we had to kick off. We've collected data, we went through our existing conditions, we had one public meeting. And now we're at the evaluation and build alternative stage for this particular corridor study. So we're actually building concepts for each particular intersection, for each particular interchange. We are going through, okay, what should this intersection look like in 2040? What do we feel we need to do along this road to make our corridors better than they are now in the future? So that's where we have with this particular study. We're evaluating alternatives. And our next public meeting is going to be in March. That's what we have with that. Same with 170. We believe that 170 must function as a street that can handle congestion safety, and mobility needs. Today, we don't feel as though if we leave 170 the way it is today, we don't think it would be able to function a street that can handle congestion. So, right. Some people might say that it's not handling congestion. It's not a street that's functioning like it can handle congestion today. So we understand without improvements to SC 170, without improvement, FC 170 will not function as a street that can handle future congestion safety ability. That's where we're at. With that one, we've had our kickoff, we've done our existing analysis, we've had one stakeholder review meeting, and we're going to have another stakeholder review meeting coming up in December. And we're working on alternative evaluations and concepts for this one as well.
Where will that meeting be, Norman?
It's going to be at Beaufort Jasper, right at Sneak.
Oh, okay.
They have a conference room there. Yeah, it's going to be on the 12th. We haven't sent out the meeting yet.
That's where it starts back.
That's where Williams tells me to turn now.
Yeah.
So that's
Let
good.
me go down to 462 and then you get into another problem.
Yeah.
Now it just takes you to 95.
That's right.
Don't even go that way. Get on 95.
Come in on the exit 8.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the presentation in a nutshell.
What are they doing is, I saw the public notice at Snake Road.
Brian, our director, he had our traffic engineer, lead traffic engineer go out there, I think they were out there, consultants, and they were optimizing the signal.
Yeah.
Because they saw that it was some lag time at certain legs,
Yeah.
you know, so the people are just sitting and they shouldn't be sitting.
Right.
Yeah, so-
Some things like that.
Yeah.
Simon, the- Jump off.
JP2.
Yeah.
It's just most informative.
Yes, so they,
What are they gonna do with John Paul? I mean, the people are calling in there in the morning, I mean, from the south. From the north,
It's growing.
going south is not bad, it's coming from the south.
Yeah.
There's a lot in there.
John Paul.
Going south this way,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
it backs up all the way.
Every day.
It's horrible.
Between the Oldfield light, the 462
Yes.
light and John Paul, that's what's causing.
Yes.
East Argent now with all that development,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cluster right there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Off-road.
You know, overpacks.
It's an elevated road, the bypasses.
I've heard Jared say eventually there will have to be, that,
Flyovers.
Yeah.
fly over there at that, and not that far.
Cause those three are
down.
right next to one another, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On December 12th, if you guys can make it out there, it's a high probability if you see. Maybe 32 proposed interchanges along 170 that you don't see today. That may be there as a concept. And of course, that's looking at future traffic. That's not, if everything is built the way that they said that they want to build it, 2045, this is what we probably.
But I hope they don't put another light, if you put one at JP2, then you're just, making it worse.
Right.
Just one after the other, you just boom, 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 boom.
No, at JP2, they will move. They will move the current light that's right on the curve, they will move it down.
And I think there is going to be some sort of connectivity where you do the new hospices.
Yeah.
There's a
Carol,
road thing, yeah, so maybe you push them further down the corridor to make the left rather than having them all there. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, yeah. Mhm.
Thank you very much, Kevin.
Yeah.
Our last update on the item is the meeting date and meeting. Are we still gonna meet on the third or fourth, whatever it is, Friday?
Yes, it's far, I mean, unless you say otherwise.
Yeah.
No meeting in December,
Right.
but the dates for 2026 were the fourth Friday generally, except for November. And we
Okay.
should be able to be back in the county building. This has been great hosting over here, very nice meeting room, just a little bit more work in terms of the broadcasting.
Yeah.
That's sort of a challenge when the meetings move to other places, but. So if that's agreeable, we'll go with that schedule that I sent out and be meeting over at the county. Thanks.
Anybody got anything else?
Right.
Okay, we're adjourned then.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck, Jim.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We do.